Croeso pawb to the summer sale PSN sale. This is a massive sale, but don't worry, I've gone through the whole thing for you and I've found the best games for you to play, and you can save a lot of money as well. So if you love playing cool games and finding some new and interesting ones to play and saving a lot of money along the way, then subscribe and you'll never miss a good deal again. You're welcome here anytime. Okay, this sale ends on the 2nd of August, so that'll be your last day to pick up these deals. Let's look at the games. First up, we have a Jugglers Tale. It was released in 2021, so it's 2 years old, and it's on at least a 70% discount for the price of £3.59 or £2.99 with PS Plus, which is the cheapest I've ever seen it, and a really good price for a really cool looking game. In this game, you play as Abby the circus marionette as you explore a cinematically grim medieval fairy tale on your way to freedom, making use of your puppet strings to complete the unique puzzles and traverse the dangerous landscape. I've never heard of this game before, but it looks really cool and unique. I'm surprised I haven't heard about it sooner. I'm a big fan of puzzle platformers. They're usually pretty cool games to play, and most people seem to really like them. And this one seems a bit different and unique, with its really cool style, and the idea of marionettes and puppets. It seems really interesting to me. So if you're a fan of puzzle platformers and you like the look of this one as much as I do, then definitely take a look at it. I think it looks like a really cool game, and you'll have a lot of fun if you try it out. And hey, if you've never played a puzzle platformer before, then this might be a good place to start. It looks like a really cool and interesting one, and it's at a really good price as well. There's a lot of choice in this genre, but this looks as good as any other, and if you're interested, why not take a chance? You may just find your new favourite genre. Check it out. We have an action-adventure next, Ari and the Secret of the Seasons. It was released in 2020, so it's 3 years old, and it's on at least a 90% discount for the low price of £3.49 or £1.74 with PS Plus, which is the cheapest I've ever seen it, and a really great price for a really cool looking game. In this action-adventure, a mysterious force has thrown the seasons of Valdi into disarray, and the young Moriariel sets out to help the four Guardian Sages by finding the source of the mayhem, overcoming monstrous enemies, and secret plots along the way to save the land. They don't make that many third-person action-adventure games like this anymore. In the days of N64, PlayStation 1 and all of that, there was tons of these games around, and a lot of them were really good fun. I'm not gonna lie, it's nice to see games like this occasionally. Brings back some good memories. So if you're nostalgic for these sorts of games like I am, or you really like them in general, why not take a look at this one? It's a pretty good one by the look of it, and I think you'd probably like it. And hey, if you've never played an action-adventure like this before, I wouldn't recommend starting here, because you can get other ones cheaper than this on sale, and there are much more AAA ones around as well, so there's plenty of options in this genre, and you can always pick them up instead. So why not subscribe, and then I'll help you find them when they're on sale next. We have a VR game next, Borderlands 2 VR. It was released in 2018, so it's 5 years old, and it's on a 75% discount for the price of £9.99, which is the cheapest I've ever seen it, and a pretty good price for such a high quality VR port. In this VR first-person shooter, move controllers are supported, and so is the aim controller, which is amazing. That's the best VR controller ever made, and most people don't even know it exists, which is a crying shame because it's amazing. In this game, you get to play the iconic looter shooter in VR, playing as one of 4 classes of Vault Hunter as you fight your way through the world of Pandora, looking for treasure, and fighting to free Pandora from the evil Handsome Jack's clutches. This game was legendary when it came out. The Borderlands series is beloved at this point, and they're really cool games. They started their own genre, the looter shooter, and that's why they're so popular. It's a really cool and fun game genre, and this was one of the best, even though it was the first. So if you like fun first-person shooters, and you want one that you can play in VR, with a load of cool guns to collect, this is the pinnacle, it really is. Do yourself a favour, and pick it up. And hey, if you've never played a VR FPS before, this is one of the best ones around. It may not be the cheapest price at the moment, but it's usually really expensive, and it's a really good price. So if you're looking for a good game, this is a really good one, and it is well worth the price. So if you're interested, definitely take a look at it. I think you'll love it. Up next, we have Esper 1, VR Operative. It was released in 2019, so it's 4 years old, and is on a 75% discount for the price of £3.99. Which is the cheapest I've ever seen it, and a really great price for such a good quality VR game. In this VR stealth action game, move controllers are required, which is great because games like this really benefit from move controller support. It just makes them so much more immersive, and much more fun to play in VR. But if you don't have them, you won't be able to play this game, so keep that in mind. In this game, as an Espire agent, you pilot remote operatives from the safety of your control center. You get to sneak, climb, take hostages with voice recognition, hide bodies, throw items to cause distractions, and engage in full-on gunfights as well. So basically, if you wanted to be a spy, sneaking into places, killing people, and extracting targets and stuff, this is for you. You'll probably love this in VR. It looks like it's got some cool mechanics like the voice recognition and taking hostages and stuff. I haven't played it myself, but if they deliver on half of the stuff they promised to, I'm sure it's a really enjoyable game, and it'll be so much fun in VR as well. So if you like the sound of it as much as I do, this is the best price it's been on for ages, so why not take a look at it? And hey, if you haven't played a VR stealth game before, there's not that many of them around, and this looks like a really good one at a pretty decent price as well. So if you're interested, you should definitely check it out. It might just be the game you've been looking for. We have a legendary RPG next, Fallout 4 Game of the Year Edition. It was released in 2017, so it's 6 years old, and it's on a 75% discount for the price of £8.74, which is an amazing price for such a huge amount of content, as this edition includes all 6 expansions of Automatron, Wasteland Workshop, Far Harbor, Contraptions Workshop, Vault Tech Workshop, and Nuka World, which is a huge amount of content. Each one of these expansions adds whole new gameplay mechanics, and even new areas and locations, so you get a massive amount of content in 6 massive expansions, making this game a huge amount of content and a really good deal at this price. In this first-person RPG, as the sole survivor of the nuclear bunker Vault 111, you emerge to a world destroyed by a nuclear war, and every second is a fight to survive as you try to rebuild civilization and guide the fate of the wasteland along the way. The Fallout games are pretty legendary at this point for their world building and the sheer expanse of the game area you get to play in. If you're a fan of RPGs, you've probably played these already, and if you haven't, they're amazing. I know the hype is huge, but they deserve it. They really do. They're such great games. So again, if you're a fan of RPGs and you haven't played this for some reason, this is a really good deal to pick it up with. So why not take a look at it? You'll love it, I promise. And hey, if you've never played an RPG before, then you should definitely check this out. It may not be the cheapest price around for a game, but it includes so much content, and it's a legendary game that you'll love it, you really will. If you've ever been tempted to try an RPG like this is one of the best around, so why not start here? More than likely you'll love it, but just don't be surprised if not every game in this genre lives up to this level of quality. Take a look. Up next we have Far Cry 4 Gold Edition. It was released in 2014, so it's 9 years old, and is on an 80% discount for the price of £8.99, which is the cheapest I've ever seen it, and a really great price, as this edition includes the Season Pass, with extra campaigns, missions, weapons, and PvP content as well. So you're in the best version of the game, with all of the content included, which is a lot of extra content, and is well worth it, I promise. So check it out. In this open world FPS, you travel to Kirat, hidden deep within the towering Himalayas, to fulfill your mother's dying wish. But on arrival, you soon find yourself caught up in a civil war to overthrow the oppressive regime of the evil dictator Pagan Min. This is hands down one of the best first-person shooters you can buy. The Far Cry series is long and well thought of, and Far Cry 4 is universally regarded as the best one they made. So why not pick up the best one in the best edition? You can't go far wrong. If you love first-person shooters and open-world games and you haven't played it, you'll have an amazing time, you really will. Just do yourself a favour and pick it up. And if you've never played an open-world FPS before, this is a great game, probably one of the best ever made in this genre. So if you're gonna try one, why not start with this one? You'll probably find your new favourite game, you really will. Especially if you like first-person shooters or action games of any sort. Check it out, it's well worth looking at. We have a unique adventure game next, Far Lone Sails. It was released in 2019, so it's 4 years old, and it's on an 80% discount for the low price of £2.39, which is the cheapest I've ever seen it, and a really good price for such a cool little game. This is an unusual adventure game, where you get to drive a unique vehicle across a dried out ocean bed, discovering a long dead civilization lost to the sands of time. Can you maintain your vehicle and reach the end of your journey? Well, I guess you'll have to play it to find out. It features vehicle upgrades and maintenance, and that seems to be the centre of the gameplay. You have this unusual vehicle, and it's up to you to look after it so that you can make it to the end of your journey. Along the way you get to explore a long dead civilization, and it promises a really cool and interesting story where you find out what happened in the past. This game seems very chill and unique, and I just really like the look of it. The story seems interesting to me, and I really like a bit of a mystery. Anyway, this game's definitely odd, definitely unique, and I think it'll really appeal to some people, and those people will love it. So if you like the sound of it, definitely take a look at it. It's one of a kind, and it might just be your favourite game you've played in ages. And if you've never played an adventure game before, then I'm not sure I'd recommend this one. Because it's so different and unique, it's not going to appeal to everyone, and if you've never played a game like this before, it might just be a bad place to start, because it's not very typical of the genre. But again, if you like what I've said, then who cares what I think? Have a look at the game, it's very different, it's very unique, you might just love it, so check it out. We have an action platformer next, LEGO Batman 3 Beyond Gotham. It was released in 2014, so it's 9 years old, and it's on a 75% discount for the price of £3.99, which is the cheapest I've ever seen, and a really great price for such a cool game. In this LEGO game, you get to join the Caped Crusader as he blasts off into space with the Justice League, and joins forces with Earth's most cunning villains to stop the evil Brainiac from destroying Earth by saving the Green Lantern rings from his clutches. The LEGO games are really great fun, and they're really good to play with a friend or a kid. Well, usually anyway, because this game doesn't have multiplayer, which is really odd for a LEGO game. But hey, if you like the other ones and you like Batman, you might want to check this one out anyway. It's really cheap, and it's a LEGO game. You'll know if you like them, and if you do, why not check this one out at this price? It's a really good deal. And hey, if you haven't played a LEGO game before, then I wouldn't recommend starting with this one. It may be cheap and it may be a good one, but it doesn't have the multiplayer for some reason, and that's pretty key in these games. Most people play them with friends or a kid, and that's what they're known for really. So you're much better off starting with one that has multiplayer, which is almost any other one but this. So take a look around, or subscribe, and then you won't miss them when they go on sale next. Leisure Suit Larry Wet Dreams Saga is our next game. It was released in 2022, so it's 1 year old, although the games are older than that really, and it's on a 90% discount for the low price of £5.39, which is the cheapest I've ever seen it, and a really great deal for 2 full games, as this includes both the Wet Dreams Don't Dry and Wet Dreams Don't Dry Twice games, which is a really good deal. These games are both point-and-click adventures, and in the first game you get to follow Larry from the 80s to modern day on a crazy adventure solving puzzles and dating women. It features non-linear gameplay, over 30 areas and characters, dating sim mechanics, hand-drawn graphics, and true blue jokes as well. So if you're a fan of the old series, you'll really enjoy it. And in the sequel, after leaving New Lost Wages and ending up stranded in Cancun, all you want to do is marry your true love Faith. But you've been separated, and Larry must search the Kaluas archipelago to find her again, and finally get married. This is a really odd one, because point-and-click adventures aren't for everyone. Sometimes the puzzles can be a bit obtuse, and that puts people off, as you can get frustrated and stuck in parts of the game. And this series, which features lewd jokes, and is famous for them, won't be for everyone either. So if you're a fan of dirty jokes, and you like point-and-click adventures, you'll probably have a lot of fun with these. But if you're an easily offended snowflake, you'll probably want to look at a different game instead. Either way, if you like the sound of it, take a look at this game. They're from a legendary series, and that means something. A lot of game series don't make it this far, so they're probably well worth playing. If you like the sound of it, definitely take a look at them. And if you haven't played a point-and-click adventure before, then I'm not sure I'd recommend starting with this, as you're getting 2 full games, so if you don't like them, you're stuck with 2 of them. So you're probably better off starting with another franchise, because you can pick up one for cheaper than this, and then at least if you don't like it, you haven't spent so much money. But these are pretty legendary, so if you like the sound of them, why not take a look? We have a VR game next, Lethal VR. It was released in 2017, so it's 6 years old, and it's on at least a 75% discount for the price of 99 pence or 79 pence with PS Plus, which is the cheapest I've ever seen it, and a dirt cheap price for a VR game, or any game really. This gallery shooter requires move controllers, so if you don't have them you can't play it, which is great because it's better for this sort of game genre. In this game you get to test your skills in a variety of VR FBI recruitment tests, and get graded on your speed, precision, accuracy, and your ability to remain calm under pressure. It features 30 total challenges, 5 tiers of weapons to use, and local leaderboards as well. It's even got some fun film-inspired weapons as well, like Oddjob's bowler from James Bond, and Mick Dundee's knife. There's some cool and funny additions to this game, which I like. This game's pretty simple, and there are better versions of this game that you can buy as well, so really it's down to the price. If you want a fun little game that everyone can play and have some fun with, then you should have a look at this game. But if you're looking for a better game, you're probably better off waiting for one of the other ones to come on sale instead. But hey, at this price, if you're interested, why not take a look at it? It's a really cool deal. And hey, if you haven't played a gallery shooter before, then this is a great place to start. It's dirt cheap, so if you don't like it, you haven't wasted a lot of money on it. So even though there's better games around, you might as well look at this one. It's really cheap, and it's the perfect price to try a new genre with, so why not take a look? We have a story-driven game next, Life is Strange 2 Completed Season. It was released in 2018, so it's 5 years old, and it's on a 70% discount for the price of £7.78, which is the cheapest I've ever seen it, and a really great deal, as this version includes the complete 5-episode story, so you're getting the whole game with everything included, which is really good. In this story-driven third-person adventure, the brothers Sean and Daniel are on the run from a police shooting incident where one of them discovered he has telekinetic powers. Can you make it safely to Mexico while concealing your abilities? Only your decisions will decide your fate. It features branching stories with multiple decisions and multiple endings as well, so if you play it more than once, you're likely to have a different experience the second time, which will keep it interesting and more fun. I'm a big fan of the Life is Strange games. The first one I thought was really good, much better than some of the Telltale games, and I like most of them as well. So if you're a fan of this sort of genre, then why not take a look at this? It may not be as good as the first Life is Strange game, but it's still really decent, and it's well worth playing, so definitely take a look at it. And hey, if you've never played a story-driven game like this before, then this is a pretty good place to start. The only problem is, a lot of the Telltale games get way cheaper than this on sale, so if you want to save some money, you're better off waiting for one of them to go on sale instead. But if you really like the look of this one, it is a good quality game, so if you don't mind paying a little extra, you'll probably really enjoy it anyway. So why not take a look at it if you really like the sound of it. It's time to deal with a robot army next, Livelock. It was released in 2016, so it's 7 years old, and it's on a 75% discount for the low price of £2.37, which is the cheapest I've ever seen it, and a really great deal. In this top-down shooter, you're set in a post-apocalyptic world of never-ending war between machines, and you play as one of the last capital intellects as you explore the remains of the world, seeking to end the war, unlock Eden, and revive humanity. And what's really unique about this game is it features 3-player online co-op, which is a bit odd because, it's 3 players. Usually it's like 2 or 6, and not much in between. But hey, if you've got a couple of friends and you want something to play with them, this is a really good option. The reviews love this game, everybody seems to really enjoy it, and the story seems interesting to me. It's hard to find out details about it, but from what I've seen, it seems pretty interesting. So if you're looking for a top-down shooter, or you just want something to play with your mates, then definitely take a look at this. It looks like a really fun little game. And hey, if you haven't played a top-down shooter before, this looks like a pretty good place to start. It looks like a really good quality game with some cool multiplayer features, and it's really cheap as well. So if you're tempted at all, why not take a chance on it? You may just find your new favourite genre. Definitely take a look at it. Up next is my star buy, Star Wars Squadrons. It was released in 2020, so it's 3 years old, and it's on an 85% discount for the price of £5.24, which is really cheap. You don't normally see it this cheap, and it's such a really good quality game, it's well worth taking a look at this price. This game is fully playable with or without VR, and it has no move controller support, which is fine because they're not really suited to piloting ships anyway, so don't worry about that. In this game you get to pilot both Empire and Rebellion ships in a story told from both sides of the war, as an Empire pilot tries to defect and join the Rebellion. It features online 20-player multiplayer, new multiplayer custom matches, B-Wings and TIE Fighter Defender ships added in as well. So they've added in some free extra DLC lately, which is great, and they seem to be supporting the multiplayer a lot as well with new modes to play. If you like fighter pilot games, especially if you love Star Wars, you'll really enjoy this game, and hey, if you own a PSVR unit, it'll be one of the best games you've ever played. You should definitely pick it up if you like the sound of that. And if you've never played a fighter pilot game before, then this is a pretty good deal. If you're a Star Wars fan, I would definitely say try it out. Especially if you've got the VR headset, you'll absolutely love it. I've played some of it, and it's unbelievably cool. Like I said, it's my star buy. It's well worth your time and money. Why not take a look at it? Definitely worth looking at. Why not check it out? We have a cool 2D puzzle platformer next. The Stylethink 1 and 2 Ultimatist Edition. It was released in 2015, so it's 8 years old, and it's on a 90% discount for the low price of £1.39, which is the cheapest I've ever seen it, and a really great deal, especially as you're getting 2 full games for that price, as this edition includes both the first game and the second game, with all of the DLC and extras, and it even includes the Vita versions, so if you've still got a Vita, that's a really cool bonus as well. In this fast-paced puzzle platforming series, you are tasked with using infinite lives to learn how to navigate lasers, homicidal robots, and terrifying bosses across over 180 total levels in this really cool bundle. I completed the first game of this and I absolutely loved it. It was one of my favourite games I played on Vita, and it's very addictive. If you like really fast skill-based puzzle games, like Meat Boy or something like that, you'll love these games. The first one was really addictive. It had that I just want one more go kind of gameplay, and it was really fun. I really loved it. So if you like the sound of that, or you just like puzzle platformers, or skill-based 2D platforming games, definitely check this out. I think you'll really like them, and at this price, you can't go far wrong. Why not take a look? And hey, if you've never played a 2D puzzle platformer before, this is the perfect place to start. You're getting two really good games for a really good price. Pretty much the only reason I'd say not to pick these up is the high skill level. Because they're really fast paced and they rely on your reflexes, it does take some skill to get past them. So if you're put off by having to repeat a level a few times, then you might not enjoy these games. So keep that in mind. But otherwise, I love them, and if you like the sound of them, definitely take a look. I think you'll love them as much as I do. We have an old school RPG next, Vaporum. It was released in 2019, so it's 4 years old, and is on a 90% discount for the low price of £2.49, which is the cheapest I've ever seen it, and a phenomenal deal for such a rare and unique kind of game. In this first-person RPG, you get to delve into classic dungeon exploration, in this steampunk-themed RPG. Stranded in the middle of an ocean with no memories, only a gigantic tower before you. You get to journey through the tower in search of answers and your freedom. This is a really old-school dungeon crawling RPG, and if you don't know what that is, it's basically first person, and you move from room to room, and you get to see what's in the rooms, and explore, and have a good time. It's pretty old school, and they don't make games like this anymore, so it's really cool and interesting. If you're a fan of these sorts of games from the olden days, or you just want to try them out and you like RPGs, then definitely take a look at this. It's a pretty decent one, and it's really cheap at the moment, so definitely worth taking a look at. And hey, if you haven't played a classic dungeon crawler before, then they can be really fun, but they're also very different to modern games, as they're slower, and there's a lot less impressive graphics, and sort of free roaming wandering around, that you're probably used to these days. But hey, if you're a fan of older games, or you like trying something different, you'll probably really enjoy this, because it is a very different genre, and there's not a lot of games like this these days. So if that piques your interest, why not take a look at it? It's really cool. We have a rally game next, WRC 9 Deluxe Edition FIA World Rally Championship. It was released in 2020, so it's 3 years old, and it's on a 90% discount for the low price of £5.79, which is the cheapest I've ever seen it, and a really great deal, as this deluxe edition includes the 1999 Toyota Corolla and the Barcelona Super Special stage as well, so you're getting some cool extra content for a really good price. This rally game is full of official WRC content, race with the benchmarks of realistic racing physics, with even more content than ever before, and it even features new rallies in Kenya, Japan and New Zealand, with custom club leagues and online 8-player multiplayer as well. So you're getting a really good game that's been around for a while, with some really cool extra content, and some new locations, and a load of extra stuff for the single player as well, which is really good. If you're a fan of WRC games and you haven't played one in a while, and you don't mind it not being the newest one, then you should definitely take a look at this. It's a really good deal for a pretty modern one. And hey, if you've never played a WRC game or a rally game in general before, then you should definitely take a look at this one. It's pretty recent, and it's the deluxe edition, so you're getting some extra content included as well, at a really good price. So if you've always wanted to try this genre, definitely take a look at this one. It's a really good choice, and you might really enjoy it, if you give it a chance. We have a VR puzzle game next, Zing the Land Beyond. It was released in 2019, so it's 4 years old, and it's on at least a 50% discount for the price of £7.99 or £6.39 with PS Plus, which is really great for a VR puzzle game of this quality. This game supports Move controllers, but you can play them without it. I wouldn't recommend it though, because there's a lot more fun using them. This game is set in the afterlife, where you must journey across a series of mysterious lands, discovering forgotten stories, collecting artifacts, solving puzzles, and finding secrets in the land beyond life. I've completed this game myself, and I really enjoyed it. It's a really cool puzzle game, with some really cool music as well. It was fun from start to finish, and I really enjoyed myself. I think puzzle games really suit VR, and this one's really cool. It's got a pretty decent theme, with some cool weather effects and pleasant places to play, like tropical islands and that sort of stuff. All in all, it's a really good puzzle VR game. If you like this sort of thing, definitely take a look at it. Some of the later puzzles get really complicated, but I enjoyed myself, and I think you will as well. And hey, if you haven't played a VR puzzle game before, this is a really good one. Sometimes you can get other ones at this price or lower, so there is some competition though. So if you're not particularly sure about this one, there may be some other options for you in the future, but this is a really good one and I really like it. So if you're looking for one right now, definitely take a look at this. Or if not, subscribe and then I'll help you find another one in another sale. And the final game I have for you is Zero Strain. It was released in 2020, so it's 3 years old, and it's on an 80% discount for the low price of £1.59, which is the cheapest I've ever seen it, and a really great price. This shooter is set in a series of top-down arenas, where you must use strategic offense and defense to survive each challenge. It features combat gameplay inspired by MOBAs, multiple ships with 3 weapons each, challenging bosses, and unique ship abilities as well. I have to say, if you're a fan of shooters, you'll probably really enjoy this. It's very different and unique, and I like that. I think you'll have a lot of fun if you like the sound of it. And hey, if you've never played a shooter before, then I'm not sure I'd recommend starting here, because it is very different and unique. But if you like the sound of it, why not take a look at it? You might find a really cool game that you love, and have a lot of fun, so why not check it out? And that's all the games I have for the summer sale PSN sale. Now if you're still here at this point, I'm assuming you're a fan of the channel because most people don't listen to this part of the video. In any case, I'm thinking of changing the channel name. I don't really have a long-term plan for this channel, unless it takes off, which, who knows, I'm not in control of that. But I thought maybe it's not a good idea to have PSN in my YouTube name long-term, so I'm thinking about changing it. Maybe something a bit more generic, that involves gaming or opinions or something like that. Anyway, what do you guys think? Do you care? Do you think I should change it? Do you even think it'll matter if this channel ever takes off? Do you reckon I'll get in trouble? I don't think this channel will ever get big enough that Sony would care enough to make me change it. But it's probably a good idea to change it now rather than later if I'm gonna. So, what do you think? Anyway, what did you think of the games I picked? Did I pick good ones or did I pick bad ones? And what about the star buy? Did it deserve it? Or should some other game have got it instead? Leave all your complaints down in the comments and we can talk about it later. Anyway, I hope you guys found some games you're interested in, but more importantly I hope you saved a lot of money. I'll see you guys in the next sale. Hoil Vour.